Okay, so this week in AI felt different. Not just another model launch or benchmark. It honestly felt like the industry moved a little. Gemini hit 1 billion users, DeepSeek changed its pricing, Grok showed up in GitHub, and Anthropic started watermarking AI content. A lot happened. Welcome to the channel for weekly AI updates. So Google casually mentioned Gemini has hit 1 billion monthly active users. And 1 billion? That number is actually kind of ridiculous. And apparently, Google's never reached that number this quickly with another product. Not search, not YouTube. Gemini got there insanely fast. But here's what's interesting. People aren't necessarily choosing Gemini themselves. It's just built into Google products. You kind of end up using it. And then, basically right after that, Google drops Gemini 3.7 Flash. Better coding, better agents, and a pretty big price cut too. That's the part I find interesting. Usually you get better performance and pay more. Google is basically saying here's better performance and it's cheaper. So I don't think Google is just trying to catch up anymore. They already have distribution. Now they're trying to put Gemini everywhere. Over in China, DeepSeek dropped V4-Pro, and the early tests were actually pretty impressive. Strong agents, long tasks, and some serious performance. And people weren't just saying it's good for the price, they were genuinely impressed. Like, wait, this thing is actually really good. Then a few hours later, DeepSeek changed the pricing. And there wasn't some huge announcement. Some prices jumped around 50%, others went up by more than 100%. And it happened basically overnight, no gradual rollout. That's interesting because DeepSeek built its reputation around being affordable. Cheap, accessible, powerful. That was a huge part of the appeal. So is the cheap Chinese AI era over? Maybe not completely, DeepSeek being the obvious cheap option every single time? Yeah, that might be changing. xAI released Grok 4.6 this week, and honestly, the early benchmark results are pretty strong. It's competing with some seriously good models. And sure, benchmarks are interesting, but I actually think the benchmarks are the least interesting part of this whole story. Because the real story is where xAI decided to put Grok. And that's where things get interesting. They put Grok inside GitHub Copilot. So now developers can use Grok directly inside a tool they already use every single day. And that's smart because developers don't have to go looking for Grok. They're already in Copilot. It's just sitting right there. That's a distribution strategy. Instead of fighting over benchmark points, you put your model where people already work. Honestly, that's pretty clever. Anthropic has started adding invisible provenance markers to Claude-generated text and images. Basically, hidden information that can help identify AI-generated content. The reason is pretty straightforward. AI transparency rules are coming in Europe. If something is AI generated, people should have a way to know. And honestly, I think that makes sense. We're about to have AI generated content absolutely everywhere. Knowing where something came from matters. But then the internet did what it always does. People immediately started looking for ways to remove the watermarks. Free tools, paid services, random websites claiming they can remove them, all of it showed up ridiculously fast. And that's basically the start of a cat and mouse game. Companies want AI content identifiable, other people want it hidden. And this is probably just beginning. OpenAI is now running GPT 5.6 Sol on Cerebrus hardware, and the reported speed increase is honestly massive. We're talking like 14 times faster. That's not a tiny optimization. That's the kind of speed difference you actually notice. But weirdly, I think the bigger story isn't speed. It's that OpenAI's enterprise revenue has reportedly passed its consumer revenue. Basically, companies are now paying OpenAI more than individual consumers are. And that tells you a lot about where the business is going. Because once businesses become the bigger customer, things like reliability, security, speed, integrations suddenly become even more important. Regular ChatGPT users aren't irrelevant, but the center of gravity is moving. The money moved toward enterprise, and attention usually follows the money. Comment below which update you like the most, and hit the subscribe button for more AI updates in future.